Today, we talk about. Hey, yo, where was I? Am I right? All right. Now, when you appreciate comedy, you understand how hard this is to do and that people are just setting up stories as building blocks in front of your eyes. Bruh, this is a big deal. A lot of people go to comedy shows, and I remember being young watching comedy, and I had the opposite thought than what most comics experience, which is I looked at comics and I was just like, any Comedy Central presents special I saw, or any HBO special I saw, or any comedy that was available to me as a kid was obviously professional comedy. I didn't have fucking YouTube as a kid to watch like open micers, right? So I'm watching these acts and I'm going, holy shit. How could I ever do such a thing? I revered it with such revere that I never could picture myself even attempting to do comedy. Like I just thought it was like this impossible miracle bestowed upon specific individuals, right? Lo and behold, you get older, you meet more people, you realize how pieces of shit people are in general, not just in comedy, just in general, whether it's medical, whether it's my fucking bestest of friends, whether it's whoever in your life. And then you start to meet regular comics and you're like, holy shit, there's regular ass people out here. Um, Now, the other point. Some people look at some people look to the Toastmakers to create initial wave of lulls. These guys get it. I guess what I was trying to get at is whether it's a Chappelle, whether it's a Pryor, whether it's a Patrice O'Neill, any name Dave Carlin, name any like trendsetter. Like they thought outside the box and got all of us as a society to think outside the box. Like that's the dream as a comic, as a pure comic. I think. I think. Um, it's not about the money. It's about lasting impact, and I think that's the beautiful thing that these guys gave us. Let's just keep it moving. I don't want to dwell on that too long. Then comes the second tier of audience who only lulls if they laugh. Okay, so what I was trying to get at is, lucky for me, that first night I went to a stand-up show, this open mic night, it was a packed house. I don't know for what reason. I've never seen it that packed since. But thank God, my first time ever being exposed to live comedy at a professional comedy club was that instance, because it made me realize, like, for certain instances, certain jokes, if there was less people in the crowd, would not have hit as hard. But there's certain instances as far as like phenomenons I've noticed, and I don't know the proper terms for it. I don't know the fucking science behind it. I'm just making observations. And the observation I made was, here's a big ass crowd. So if a certain joke is said on stage and it makes a certain crowd luckily lull, then that will create a tidal effect or an aftershock effect where other people in the crowd will lull because they didn't potentially recognize the humor in the actual joke, but because other people are laughing, they will also laugh. Which is why I've always preferred performing for larger crowds, because that's the safety in the larger crowd. You'll inevitably reach a certain populace within the crowd, and if they start lulling, other people, as a ripple effect, will start lulling, even if they don't fucking get it. And as far as you're concerned, you don't give a fuck. You got a lull. It is what it is. But anyway, all I was trying to say. Next point. How many points do I have, actually? Actually, I don't even have that many points. So we'll make this one big motherfucking video, which I will chop up into pieces because I'm a realist. Now, the next tier is the people that will never laugh unless everybody is lulling. And this just leads into what I was just saying earlier. Like, some people will just not laugh. I don't know if they're stupid. I don't know if they just don't get it. I don't know if they're just even not just paying attention. But if other people are laughing, they will laugh. It is what it is. why you want a packed house always. Now, next. Oh, totally agree with this. This is such a great first date idea. And in my opinion, this should be your only first date. Men and women, if you are going on a first date, go to a fucking comedy show. Do not go to a movie. You do not want to sit in front of a screen where nothing involves you at all, and then you walk away 2 hours later, and in the man's case, I would hope, about what, 20 to 30 bucks lighter? It's not worth it. You didn't get to know the girl. You didn't get to experience anything. It was the most basicest shit of your life. Not worth it. Comedy show, on the other hand, way worth it. Let me tell you why. First of all, when you get there, if you have a good time and the other person doesn't, hey, you still had a great time. Secondly, seeing the kind of humor this person has, man or woman, whoever's on the date with who, will help curate and guide your relationship status with them. Like, you want to be able to have the same sense of humor as your partner. Because if you don't, in my personal experience, that shit is miserable as fuck. What it is, what it is. That's just my thoughts on it. Let's leave it at that. Hopefully that makes sense. Next. Good comedians are like good QBs. Gotta move on to the next joke. Pros do this best. Okay, what I meant by this was, name a quarterback, they get fucking sacked. They get bodied, right? Like, they get crushed. They still have the opportunity on the very next play, literally on the very next play, to throw a fucking touchdown, negating anyone's memory of any bullshit about a sack. No one would give a fuck. And I think comedy, what I recognized that night, just watching all these fucking open micers, they weren't even fucking like New York comics. They were just open micers, and I'm just noticing this off the rip, and it was just so mind-blowing. It was just like, holy shit, man. Some of their jokes aren't hitting, but if they don't hit, they just move on to the next joke, and that next joke might kill the fucking crowd, and that's what you're shooting for every time. It was so OD, and I took that away from myself. Practice makes perfect, obviously, but I've incorporated that into my psyche of like, yo, this is not going to happen overnight. You're going to tell jokes that suck. And today even, actually just today, I told a joke that I thought was funny, and no one raised an eyebrow. And it didn't hurt my feelings. I was just like, holy shit, all right, guess it's not funny. So either cut that shit out or find a way to make it funnier. That's the way you need to be approaching this kind of shit, okay? Next. If I ever get famous and people ask me to do something of my talent at a party or a late night show or podcast interview, I found the perfect response. Ready? I don't send dick pics. Oh, okay, I get this. So this was in reference to if someone asks you to tell a joke because they found out you're a comedian, or you're featured on a late night show, interview type of shit, and they're like, hey, tell us some of your act. In my head at the time, the perfect response was, I don't do dick pics. AKA, hey, we all have dicks as men, but, or, you know, traditional men. But you can't just straight up ask me for a dick pic just because I'm a man. Just because I'm a comic, you can't just ask for a fucking joke. That was the whole premise of that shit. It doesn't hit as hard as I remember it did when I wrote it down, but it is what it is. Next. You gotta stop embarrassing hecklers. They're the comedians in the crowd who are desperate to be up there, but just don't gots le guts. Then one day, they do because they see an opening, they go for it, and you body them. They're now crushed. You've killed another comedian before they even started their career. What career? Super Hot Fire reference. Now, maybe I'm just silver lining the fuck out of this, but my whole point with this was, I think the people that are like lashing out in crowds and the hecklers are like people who wanted to be comedians but like were too pussy to pursue it. And all of a sudden they see an opening and they're like, holy shit, this is my chance to like show myself. And then they realize they're fucking assholes, and then it just shuts down. Especially if the comedian is that dope that they can shut them down professionally. But with that said, maybe I just feel bad. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.